Oh, that's it. He is finished. Every good artist has to know when to quit.
The story of Joshua Bam Bam Brown leaving Alaskan bush people is one that stirred emotions across the nation. For years, viewers had watched him grow up in the rugged wilderness, standing alongside his parents, Billy and Amy, and supporting his 6 siblings through every challenge and adventure. But behind the laughter, hunting trips, and moments of survival, an unexpected turn awaited. In a deeply emotional farewell, Bam Bam revealed his decision to leave, sparking one of the most heart-wrenching goodbyes in reality TV history. This is the poignant journey that brought both his family and fans across America to tears. A heartbreaking decision. The episode opens with a deeply emotional scene. Joshua Bam Bam Brown, the second eldest son of the Alaskan bush people family, sitting quietly as tears stream down his face. For longtime viewers who had followed the Browns through years of struggles and triumphs, seeing Bam Bam so vulnerable was both shocking and heartbreaking. Gone was the energetic young man once known as the family's mechanical genius, the one always tinkering with boats, engines, and radios, finding solutions where others saw problems. Now, in this quiet moment, we see a man standing at the crossroads of his life, burdened by a decision that could change everything. To remind viewers who he has been, the episode takes a tender look back, a moving montage of happier times. We see the Browns laughing together around campfires, building their Alaskan homestead plank by plank, fishing in icy waters, and chasing each other through the forest. In those flashbacks, Bam Bam is always smiling, calm, dependable, and grounded, the brother everyone could count on when life in the wild turned difficult. Then comes the moment that stills every heart. The scene cuts to a private family meeting inside their familiar log home. All the Browns are gathered, faces lit by the warm flicker of lantern light. The cameras roll as Bam Bam clears his throat, emotion thick in his voice. Slowly, he tells his family that he has made a choice, one that will change his life, and theirs, forever. A heavy silence follows. His words hang in the air like the stillness before a storm. His brothers glance at each other, unsure of what to say. His sisters try to hold back tears. The emotion is raw, real, a family caught between love and loss. Billy Brown, the family patriarch who had built his entire legacy on unity and survival, looks at his son with a mix of sorrow and pride. He has always taught his children to follow their hearts, but never imagined one of them would follow it away from home. Ami, the gentle matriarch, folds her hands tightly, whispering silent prayers. For her, Bam Bam has always been more than a son. He's been her steady support through every trial. The episode doesn't shy away from these emotions. The camera lingers on each face. Bear, the wild spirit, shaking his head in disbelief. Noah, the family's quiet thinker, lowering his gaze, and the younger siblings struggling to understand why one of their own is stepping away from the only life they've ever known. Then, as the music swells, the narrator's voice asks the question that grips every viewer. Why is Bam Bam leaving? Is it the pressure of fame, a loss of purpose, or something deeper and more personal? No one knows, not yet, but in this haunting moment, both the family and the fans realize that this is not just another reality TV twist. It's the real story of a son torn between love and freedom, and a family facing the painful truth that change has finally come to the Alaskan bush people. Roots of a wilderness soul. Joshua Bam Bam Brown came into the world in 1984, the second of 7 children born to the Brown family. From the very start, his childhood looked nothing like that of the average American kid. While most youngsters sat behind desks learning math and grammar, Bam Bam was out in the untamed wild, learning lessons that no classroom could ever teach. He built shelters from rough logs, fished in icy waters, and learned to survive through grit, instinct, and his father's guidance. Archival footage from the early days of Alaskan bush people paints a vivid picture. Young Bam Bam sprinting through the dense Alaskan forest, his laughter echoing among the towering trees. Even as a boy, he carried a quiet sense of focus that set him apart from his siblings. While some thrived on chaos and wild adventure, Bam Bam was calm, calculated, and deeply practical. When an engine broke or a radio failed, he didn't panic. He worked until it was fixed. Family members often describe him as the anchor of the group, the one who could think clearly when emotions ran high. Ami, his mother, still remembers the teenage Bam Bam who would comfort her through long, freezing nights, showing a maturity far beyond his years. His siblings recall him as the brutally honest brother, never afraid to speak the truth, even when it stung. That honesty made him respected, but also, at times, misunderstood by fans who only saw a fraction of who he really was. Yet, even amid the closeness of family life, there were early hints of a restless heart beating inside him. While his brothers embraced the chaos of their unconventional world, Bam Bam often seemed more introspective. Footage shows him staring across the endless ocean while repairing a boat, his eyes full of thought, perhaps searching for something beyond the horizon. These quiet moments revealed a young man who loved his family deeply, but was beginning to question where he truly belonged. Crew members and producers from the show noticed that difference too. Unlike his siblings who thrived in front of the camera, Bam Bam treated the filming process more like an obligation than an adventure. To him, the cameras were part of the job, not part of the dream. Over time, this made him stand apart, not by choice, but by the quiet way he carried himself. When the pressure broke, life in the wild was already grueling, but fame made it even heavier to bear. In the early days, the success of Alaskan bush people felt like a miracle. Millions watched the Browns every week, captivated by their courage and simplicity. But behind that fame came the invisible weight of expectation. Suddenly, their isolated life became a public spectacle. Every move was filmed, every choice analyzed. Bam Bam, who valued honesty and realness, soon found himself in conflict with the growing demands of television. He wanted the show to remain true to their actual struggles, raw and unscripted. But as production leaned more toward drama, he began to feel trapped between two realities: the life he lived and the one being shown to the world. For years, he tried to suppress that inner conflict. He worked tirelessly, helping his family and keeping the show running smoothly. But his enthusiasm began to fade. His siblings noticed. Bear remembered Bam Bam sitting quietly during family discussions, distant and deep in thought. Noah recalled that his brother seemed drained by the attention, more focused on what lay beyond the wilderness than the next episode. Then came the turning point, a moment that quietly shifted everything. The documentary doesn't dramatize it, but hints suggest that a heated disagreement during filming became the final straw. Others close to the family say it was simply the emotional exhaustion of living every day in front of a camera. Whatever it was, it pushed Bam Bam to his limit. Ami remembers the night he opened up to her, his voice trembling as he confessed that he felt suffocated, unsure if he still belonged in the life they had built together. Billy, though proud of his son's independence, sensed the truth before Bam Bam even said the words. As these reflections unfold on screen, viewers see beyond the rugged image of a wilderness man. They see a son, a brother, and a human being, caught between love, loyalty, and a need for freedom. The fame that once seemed a blessing had become a burden, and the life that once gave him peace now felt like a cage. For Bam Bam Brown, this was the breaking point, the moment he realized something had to change. A son torn between two worlds. After reaching his breaking point, Bam Bam began spending more and more time alone, reflecting on where his life was headed. Old footage and subtle reenactments show him wandering along Alaska's rocky shorelines, the sea stretching endlessly before him as if reflecting the storm within his heart. Those closest to him remember how he would sit for hours in silence, jotting down notes in a worn journal or sketching out ideas for small projects that had little to do with the Brown family's off-grid existence. It was during these quiet moments that he weighed the cost of disappointing his parents against the possibility of finally following his own truth. Emotional interviews with Billy and Amy Brown form the heart of this chapter. As parents of 7, they had always believed their family was unbreakable, a tribe forged by faith, loyalty, and the will to survive. Bam Bam's uncertainty shook that belief. Billy, who had raised his children to be independent, yet united, struggled with the thought of one of them stepping away. Amy, ever the gentle matriarch, admits that she found it hard to understand her son's doubts. To her, the wilderness and family bond were sacred, and walking away from it felt like turning away from everything they had built together. Each sibling reacted differently to Bam Bam's growing inner conflict. Bear, the wild and adventurous brother, pleaded with him to stay, insisting that the wilderness was where he belonged. Noah, ever the inventor, offered logical arguments about how Bam Bam's absence would weaken their survival routine. The youngest sisters, Rain and Snowbird, were hit the hardest. They recall in tearful interviews how they asked him over and over if he truly meant to go, hoping he would change his mind. The moment that solidified Bam Bam's decision is shown with great care. Though no single event can capture years of tension, a particularly heated disagreement about filming pushed him past the point of return. The cameras show him walking away from the set, jaw tight, eyes full of frustration. Those who knew him best say this was when contemplation turned into certainty. Exclusive behind-the-scenes footage deepens the reality of that moment. Bam Bam is seen carefully sorting through his modest belongings. Old tools, a faded notebook, a few clothes, choosing what to take and what to leave. He was never one for luxury, even with fame at his doorstep. What he carried with him wasn't wealth or recognition, but the quiet conviction that his journey was about to change forever. The breaking of hearts. For years, audiences had watched the Browns as an unshakable family, bound by love, hardship, and the wild. The idea of one child leaving was painful enough, but seeing it actually happen was a heartbreak that no camera could hide. The first emotional conversation unfolds between Bam Bam and his parents. Billy Brown, once the unyielding leader of the family, sits before his son, his expression caught between pride and sorrow. He had always encouraged his children to live authentically, even if it meant going against his own wishes. Yet watching Bam Bam prepare to leave their world behind tested that belief. In a trembling voice, Billy admits that though he respects his son's decision, the emptiness it would leave behind is something no one could replace. His voice cracks as he confesses that the Brown family will never quite be the same again. Ami's reaction strikes even deeper. Known for her unwavering strength, she breaks down completely. Tears stream down her face as she clasps Bam Bam's hands, begging him to reconsider. To Ami, this wasn't just a son leaving home. It was the unraveling of the bond she had devoted her life to preserving. She fears that distance will do what no hardship or storm ever could: pull her family apart. The cameras linger as she hugs him tightly, whispering words of love through the sobs that she can no longer hold back. Each sibling says goodbye in their own way, and the documentary refuses to rush through it. Bear, usually full of energy and laughter, grows uncharacteristically quiet, admitting he cannot imagine the wilderness without his brother by his side. Noah, trying to stay composed, reasons that the family needs him, but his calm tone can't hide the sadness in his eyes. Gabe, the younger brother, wipes away tears as he tells Bam Bam he never thought this day would come. The youngest sisters, Rain and Snowbird, cling to him, crying openly. Rain pleads with him not to go, while Snowbird's quiet goodbye leaves an echo of heartbreak in the silence. What makes this episode unforgettable is its honesty. The cameras don't look away from the pain. They linger on every trembling voice, every tearful embrace. Behind the fame, behind the wilderness, viewers witness something real and raw. A family torn between love and change, standing at the edge of a goodbye that will alter their lives forever. After several days filled with tearful talks and painful goodbyes, the Brown family decides to gather for one last supper before Bam Bam departs the homestead. For a family that has shared most of their lives around a simple wooden table, every meal carried the warmth of unity and survival. But this one is different. This meal holds the weight of farewell. The camera captures Amy in the kitchen, preparing food with the help of her daughters, Snowbird and Rain. They move with quiet purpose, as if holding on to routine could somehow slow down time. Still, beneath their calm gestures lies a heavy silence. Everyone knows this isn't just dinner, it's the end of a chapter. The footage shows the entire family sitting around the table they built with their own hands, a symbol of everything they've endured together. Food is passed around, laughter is attempted, but behind every smile is a shared pain. For years, this table had been their meeting place, where they planned shelters, celebrated small victories, and shared dreams about the future. Tonight, though, the future feels fragile. The table that once echoed with laughter now holds the quiet sound of hearts breaking. As the meal continues, it's Bam Bam who finally breaks the silence. With a steady yet emotional voice, he tells his family how deeply he loves them. He explains that leaving doesn't mean turning away from them. It's about listening to a voice inside that's calling him towards something new. He thanks his parents for raising him with strength, faith, and courage, and he looks at each sibling, reminding them of their strengths. He encourages them to keep building the life they've created together, even without him. Ami's tears fall quietly as she lowers her head, while Billy grips his son's hand tightly, pride and sorrow etched on his face. The siblings can no longer hold back their emotions. Bear, usually the wild and fearless one, sobs as he pulls his brother into a tight hug. Noah tries to speak, but emotion chokes his words. Gabe covers his face, unable to hide his pain. Rain and Snowbird cling to one another, their tears streaming as they realize this may be their last dinner as one family. The documentary lingers on every sound, the faint clinking of silverware, the soft cries, the murmured words of comfort. The narrator's voice brings the moment home. This dinner wasn't about food. It was about love, and the strength to let go while knowing that no distance can break the bond of family. Letting go of a life. The scene shifts to Bam Bam, slowly moving through the cabin that has been his world since childhood. Every wall, every handmade piece of furniture holds decades of memories, laughter, lessons, and survival. For long-time viewers of the show, this moment feels intimate and symbolic. What they're watching isn't just a man packing. It's a son saying goodbye to an entire way of life. The documentary lingers on the smallest details, the quiet moments that say everything. Bam Bam opens a wooden chest, pulling out the tools he once used to fix engines and boats, the same tools that helped his family survive Alaska's harsh seasons. He wraps them carefully, choosing only a few to take. He sorts through his worn clothes, folding the ones that had seen countless hunts and winters. His bag remains light, a reflection of a man who values purpose over possessions. Then a powerful moment unfolds. Bam Bam finds a carved wooden figure, one his father, Billy, made for him years ago. He sits in silence, turning it over in his hands, the weight of memory pressing heavy on his heart. After a long pause, he places it back on the shelf. The gesture says more than words ever could. Leaving it behind isn't just about space. It's about accepting that some parts of the past must stay where they belong. His siblings are beside him as he packs, each expressing love in their own quiet way. Bear carries boxes but avoids eye contact, his usual grin replaced by a trembling lip. Noah, ever the rational one, offers advice between shaky breaths. Gabe lingers close, his face a mix of disbelief and sorrow. Rain and Snowbird fold his clothes, their tears falling silently as they help him prepare to go. They all understand. They can't stop him, but they can stand beside him until the very end. As Bam Bam closes his bag, the air feels heavier. Each item packed is a farewell to the rivers, forests, and wild lands that shaped his soul. The narrator's voice echoes softly over the final shots. This was more than packing a bag. It was the quiet crossing from one world into another. Bam Bam Brown wasn't just leaving his home. He was stepping into the unknown, carrying only what truly mattered: his memories, his courage, and his heart. The farewell that shook a nation. Morning mist drifts softly over the Alaskan treetops. The air is cold, still, and heavy with unspoken emotion. Inside the family's wooden cabin, quiet movement signals what everyone has been dreading. The day Bam Bam leaves has arrived. The cameras follow him as he steps outside, a small bag slung over his shoulder, his eyes reflecting both pain and purpose. For millions of viewers across America, this was the moment that broke their hearts. The once lively boy who had grown up in the wild, side by side with his family, through storms, hunger, and hardship, was now walking away from everything that had shaped him for over 30 years. Outside the cabin, the family gathers one last time. The emotion in the air is thick, the silence broken only by the wind and the sound of quiet sobs. Billy Brown steps forward first, the father who had built this world, this dream of family and freedom. His voice trembles as he tells Bam Bam that while his heart aches to see him go, he supports his son's decision. Their hug is long and heavy with love, the kind of embrace that says what words never could. Before they part, Billy leans in to whisper something into his son's ear. Words the cameras never capture, but that every father and son watching can feel. Then comes Ami. Her strength falters as she clings to Bam Bam, her tears streaming freely. "No matter how far you go," she whispers, "you'll always be my boy." It's a moment almost too raw to watch, a mother letting go of her child, knowing that part of her heart will now live somewhere else in the world. The siblings come forward next. Bear's usual fire is gone, replaced by quiet grief as he hugs his brother tightly. Noah speaks through trembling words, reminding Bam Bam that their bond will survive any distance. Gabe's eyes glisten as he admits that life will never feel the same without him. Snowbird holds her brother's hand, unable to say more than "I love you," while Rain sobs uncontrollably, begging him to promise he'll come back soon. The camera lingers as the hugs stretch on, as the family clings together under the fading Alaskan light. And then, the moment no one is ready for, Bam Bam turns to leave. He pauses, looks back at the cabin that built his childhood, at the family that built his soul, and then takes his first steps down the narrow path leading away from home. The Browns stand still, their figures framed against the wilderness, their faces filled with love, sorrow, and pride. The narrator's voice breaks through the silence. This was the goodbye that broke America. Fans across the country wept as they watched, feeling as though they too had lost a brother. The screen fades slowly to black, leaving only the echo of footsteps and the image of a family forever changed. A journey toward new horizons. The story then shifts from the deep forests of Alaska to a completely different world. The camera follows Bam Bam as he walks along a quiet city street, a place of noise, lights, and people, far from the wilderness he once called home. His expression carries both uncertainty and courage. This isn't the end of his journey. It's the first page of a new chapter he's writing for himself. The documentary reveals the heart behind his choice. After years of living under the pressure of cameras and scripted reality, Bam Bam longed for peace, for a life that was his own. A part of that decision, it's revealed, was driven by love, his relationship with Alison Kagan, a former producer of Alaskan Bush people. Together, they dreamed of building a simpler life away from the public eye, a life defined not by survival or fame, but by love and purpose. Back at the homestead, the Browns learned to live with the silence his absence leaves behind. Archival footage and heartfelt interviews capture their attempts to carry on. Billy and Amy lean on faith, reminding themselves that true love sometimes means letting go. Bear throws himself into new adventures, using his energy to mask the emptiness. Noah keeps building and inventing, but often pauses mid-sentence when he mentions his brother's name. Gabe, Rain, and Snowbird all struggle in quiet ways. A dinner table seat left empty, a laugh that doesn't sound quite the same. And yet, through the sadness, hope endures. The documentary reminds viewers that love doesn't end with distance. Phone calls, handwritten letters, and brief visits keep the connection alive. Ami says that hearing her son's voice, even from miles away, brings her peace. The siblings share that though it hurts, they know his journey is one he was meant to take. Bam Bam's departure was not a breaking, it was a transformation. It showed that family isn't only about living side by side. It's about holding one another in the heart, no matter how far the road stretches. The Browns may have lost the daily presence of a son and brother, but what remains is unshakable. Love, loyalty, and the faith that someday the path might lead him home again. How did Bam Bam's heartfelt farewell make you feel? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more touching stories like this. Before leaving, take a moment to check out the other videos displayed on your screen.